It's time for a Bears Now mailbag. I'm Harrison Graham. 2 ways to get on the show. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Fire in those questions. The Bears 85. Should the Bears throw big money at Ronnie Stanley this offseason or roll with Braxton Jones at left tackle? It's an interesting discussion because outside of Darnell Wright, you could argue all 4 other offensive line positions are up for grabs. Now, is interior probably a bigger need? Probably. Teven Jenkins is a better player than Braxton Jones, but he's more injury prone. So if you let Teven go, then you really need 2 new guards. So I think it just depends on how you want to allocate your resources. Because if you pay Ronnie Stanley, let's say you give him $18-20 million per year on like a 3-year deal, you're probably not doing the same thing for a guard. Like, I don't think you're going to pay 2 free agent linemen $20 million each. Like, I don't think you're getting Trey Smith and Ronnie Stanley. So I would probably rather throw money at Trey Smith and then draft a tackle. And even if that means you roll with Braxton for 1 more year, so be it. I think for 1 more year he's fine. But it'll be interesting because Stanley has kind of had a resurgence here, and he's been able to stay healthy this year for Baltimore. What say you? Should the Bears sign Ronnie Stanley? Type S for sign or P for pass. Certainly wouldn't be upset if they signed him, but I think I'd probably go in a different direction in terms of a big free agent expenditure. We got Ryan here. Appreciate the 5. He says, how far would Kliff need to go in the playoffs for him to jump further in the head coach candidate list? Interesting to see what he does in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all – there's context to all this stuff. Like, is his play calling a big reason why they're advancing? Is Jaden continuing to elevate in his offense? I think that all matters. I do think the way they finished this season offensively and Jaden's continued growth, I think that is a check mark for Kliff because you want that sustained linear growth from Caleb moving forward, whereas this year for Caleb, it's just, I think from beginning to end, he's gotten better, but it hasn't been linear. For Jaden, for the most part, I would say it was like this, kind of a little dip, and then shot back up again. Caleb's been more up and down, so I do think he deserves credit for that. Can he do that as the head coach where he has a lot more responsibilities and still get that linear growth out of Caleb? I think that's the question that you'd have to ask yourself. Zach Stegman, wouldn't hate a Mike McCarthy hire, offensive plus culture. Yeah, look, McCarthy is he's on my radar. His contract runs out after Week 18. I think Jerry would like to keep him at this point in Dallas, but Mike could say, hey, listen, I'm interested in returning, but these 3 teams have also called too. Like, I'm going to take interviews. So this could be a rare, unique situation for him. Now, my gut tells me if Jerry offers him and his staff new contracts, he'll probably just take it. But if he doesn't, or if he says, you know what, I just want to see what's out there, I definitely would interview him. Like, you faced him a lot in this division for years. He's won a Super Bowl. I do think his days of being a Super Bowl winning head coach are probably over, but he's kind of like the offensive Vrabel to me. Like, he elevates your floor significantly, and in that standpoint, at least he's on the offensive side. So I wouldn't be completely against it. Wouldn't be my top guy. He is 61 years old, so he's not a spring chicken anymore. But, yeah, as a fallback option, certainly wouldn't hate that whatsoever. Something I don't hate either is our friends over at Zbiotics. Guys, if you're going to have a night out drinking, Zbiotics is going to help you out. Let me explain. First of all, get 15% off at zbiotics.com/chatsports. Listen, I'm a little older now, not in college anymore, don't drink as much as I used to, but during the holidays, I like to splurge here and there, have a drink from time to time, and the unfortunate part is I don't bounce back the next day like I used to, but that all changed when I found Zbiotics Pre-Alcohol. Pre-Alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly. Get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. From Thanksgiving all the way to New Year's now, listen, sometimes you have a few drinks. Sometimes there's some parties, and you like to indulge a little bit. But don't let the festivities leave you feeling less than merry. Zbiotics Pre-Alcoholic Probiotic can help savor the night and seize the next day. So stay in the loop. Zbiotics.com/chatsports. Get you 15% off. You can also scan the QR code on screen. Also, take advantage. Sign up for their subscription using our code ChatSports so you can stay prepared no matter the time of the occasion. Zbiotics is backed with 100% money back guaranteed. So check it out today, zbiotics.com/chatsports, code ChatSports for 15% off. We got Maz Tanker up next. How Bears would it be if we didn't re-sign Teven Jenkins and he went to have a full, healthy Pro Bowl season? That'd be pretty Bearsy. It would, but like you also, I think this would be a rare case where you'd have to look at it and be like, could you really blame the Bears? Like, I don't think you could blame them either way. Like, if you bring them back on a financial contract that makes sense, cool. Like, I think there's some logic there. If you let him walk and he, for the first time in 5 years, stays mostly healthy and has a great year, well, we know when he's healthy, he's a good player. So there's always a chance that could happen. Would I bank on it? No. I think we kind of know what he is. He's a really good, not great guard, but a top 15 guard in the NFL. He's a really good player, but he's going to give you about 12 total games worth of snaps. What is that worth? I'd say that's worth like, I don't know, $6 to $8 million plus incentives. That's the type on an annual basis. Like, that's good money, but I don't think you can give him 18, 20 million per year like some guards got last offseason. Like, he has too much of an injury history with different types of injuries. So, but yeah, to your point, it would be textbook. Like, he signs with the 49ers or something and has the best year of his career. Soldier Bear 85, if you could have any head coach in NFL history, who would you choose? If you're talking about in today's NFL 2024, I think I'd choose Andy Reid. Offensive guy, play caller, culture builder. He checks all those boxes. Now, if you're asking me who's the best head coach of all time, I'd probably still say Belichick. But if you ask me right now, who would I take in history, I think it would be Andy Reid. Because you know you're going to have a good offense. You know you're going to have a good culture. He's had a lot of success stories giving guys second chances. They do a really good job of maximizing talent. I mean, this year's a great example. Like, for a while there, the Chiefs just, they were having to win ugly, but they were, and he's a big reason why. So I think he'd be my answer. I really, really do. If you want more Bears content, want to be a part of these mailbags, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We go live every Monday and Thursday. Although, note, we are not going live this Thursday unless something changes due to the holiday schedule. So keep on tab on that. We will be live on Sunday. But hit that subscribe button, and we'll continue to crank out content. Depressed Bears fan, aren't we all? I'm mad that we are talking about draft position again this year. For a team in year 3 of a rebuild should not be in this position. Exactly. It's another indictment on Poles. He himself said it on Hard Knocks. It's time to win this year. He went from 3 wins to 7 wins, back down to 4 wins. It's just not good enough. It's not a good enough place to be in. I don't care how tough the division is. So, yeah, I'm completely with you. There's no way around it. 2024 is a massive failure. Sip, sip, sip. Could DK be the Keenan Allen we need or too risky? Like, trade for DK Metcalf? Is that what you're saying? I love DK Metcalf. He's a little bit of a head case, but I also just, like, you've got Rome and DJ under contract. Like, you need trenches players. Like, if you're going to trade for somebody, trade for a premier pass rusher, or trade for a left tackle. Don't trade for DK Metcalf. Like, you don't need them. Like, you got other needs that you need to address. It is Packers week, believe it or not. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like we're already in off-season mode, probably because we are. But it's always FGB here on this channel. You guys know the motto. Be awesome to knock off the Packers. I wish it was a situation where if they lost, they missed the playoffs, but can at least lock them into the 7th seed if you beat them, so there's that. Young Mind and Elevation says, why is Poles' job security the topic? When has any GM done right here? New GM will be under fire too. Issues stem from ownership. Curse of the McCaskies. Well, it's the topic because unless we get hit with a notification that the Bears are for sale, like, we could sit here all day and beat the drum of the McCaskey stake. They need to sell. Well, we know that. But what is, like, something that you can make a change on? Well, you could change the GM who is underachieved up to this point, right? Like, I don't think that's out of bounds to say. If the Panthers trade did not happen, there would not be a lot to hang his hat on. That's just a fact. So, I agree with everything you're saying, but we can't change the owner. The GM can change, though, so that's why it's a bigger topic. J.E., Ben Johnson, and Ryan Pace are nagging polls. Like, if you're asking me which combo, I'll just Ben Johnson. I mean, it's not like Ryan Poles has lit it up. Now, I think his philosophies in terms of, being cap friendly and flexible year in a year, like, I prefer that for the most part, especially when you're rebuilding, more than Pace, who kept just throwing out crazy contracts trying to stay in win now mode, even though he didn't have the quarterback to do that. But I'd still take the swing if it meant Ben Johnson. Like, if you're asking me which combo I'd rather choose, I would take the Ben Johnson Ryan Pace combo. All right, give us a follow on social media at HGramNFL on Twitter, at HGramNFL on Instagram. Same handle on both platforms. You can slide in the DMs over there if you have more questions. Also, if you're watching live right now on Monday, we'll have another mailbag coming up, so keep firing in those mailbag questions.